Phaneuf takes it around back of the net, flipping it up on the boards, doesn't get it. Oh, what a
Major.
He's gone.
Oh, here it is. Oh boy.
Oh, this scares the daylights out of me. Oh, man, I don't like that at all. Oh.
Head injuries and concussions are a growing problem in high-level sports, especially hockey. As the intensity and pace of the game continues to increase, so too does the occurrence and severity of concussions. In the 2011-2012 NHL season alone, an estimated 8% more concussions were reported than in previous years. Additionally, in the same season, almost 90 players missed significant portions of their seasons as a result of concussions, and 1,700 man games were lost due to head injuries. Obviously, the issue of concussions in hockey is one of great concern. Why specifically should you care?
While our focus today is on elite-level hockey players, head injuries and concussions affect people of all ages, genders, and activity levels. A concussion is defined by the Mayo Clinic as being a traumatic brain injury that alters the way the brain functions. Its symptoms include headaches, dizziness, nausea, and blurry vision. Concussions are often caused by forceful hits or movements of the body that cause the brain to collide with the sides of the skull. In comparison, hockey players produce hits that are over 10 newtons greater in force than their NFL football counterparts. While most people recover fully from concussions if the correct treatment is followed, others can suffer lifelong effects. This is especially common in athletes who do not take the proper amount of time to rest and recuperate from their injury. Dr. Mike Evans, a head specialist, will explain more in depth the causes of concussions.
Concussions 101. So let's start with the basics. What is a concussion? So a concussion is a knock on the head where you usually have some other stuff going on. So it could be a headache, confusion, blurry vision, feeling sick to your stomach, or even just generally feeling weird. These are all signs that the brain's been disturbed a bit. So what's different about a concussion? Well, I think three things. So firstly, the brain sits inside the skull. So when you smash it, it's actually most oftentimes protected. But sometimes if you hit it hard enough, the brain hits the inside of the skull and it can actually get bruised. And if you hit it hard enough, it can actually swing back or rotate and get bruised on the other side of your brain. Secondly, when you twist your ankle or bang your knee, you might see some bruising or scrapes or swelling on the outside. But this isn't the case with your brain. It gets injured and nobody really knows.
By increasing education and awareness of concussions amongst players and coaches, as well as increasing fines and improving equipment quality, we believe that the rate and severity of concussions in NHL hockey players can be reduced.
At the professional sports level, the mentality of play through the pain is at an all-time high. Players will often ignore symptoms of injury, and coaches will encourage their athletes to return to play before they are completely healed. In one study, reported in the New York Times, a coach was quoted as saying, in reference to his hockey players, "Unless something is broken, I want them back out playing." Returning too early is a major cause of recurrence injury and can lead to long-term effects like memory loss and brain damage. By bringing in an expert in the field to educate players and coaches on the symptoms, severity, and recovery needs of concussions, these individuals will learn that head injuries are something that should be treated appropriately and need to be taken seriously. They will then be less likely to ignore symptoms and seek the medical attention that they need. The second part of our proposal, to reduce the number of concussions in hockey, would be to increase fines and improve players' helmets. Hockey is a traditionally violent sport that gains a large following based on its hard hits and fistfights. However, the aggression of the sport can be maintained while still limiting hits meant only to harm the opposition. This change in policy can then come with increased fines that the players would have to face if they did not follow the rules. If this monetary punishment is not enough to sway the players, a mandatory suspension period could also be used to discourage their violent behavior.
In total, the cost of our proposed solution would be very low, especially in terms of the National Hockey League's budget. To hire a neurologist full-time would cost about $300,000 per year, and hiring them on an hourly basis would come to approximately $88 an hour. For an organization that can afford to pay their players millions of dollars, this price of keeping them healthy and functioning should not be unreasonable. In addition to hiring a neurologist, the NHL should improve its helmets. Improving the helmets would not actually be that difficult. By making the helmet bigger and adding more padding with the increased space, it would greatly help decrease concussions. In terms of a concussion, it comes as a result of pressure on the brain from the skull. Pressure equals force divided by area. Increasing the helmet size and adding more padding would help decelerate the force. This would greatly decrease the pressure on the brain. It is very similar to an airbag. Think of it like this. If someone were to close their fist and punch you at a very slow speed, the impact would hurt much less than if someone closed their fist and punched you as quickly as they could. the force is just at a slower speed. This is exactly what the increased padding in a large helmet does. It helps decelerate the force of the skull hitting the helmet. This helps decrease the force on the brain, which decreases pressure and helps decrease the likelihood of a concussion. We understand that this plan is not perfect. Players and coaches could put up opposition to the mandatory educational meetings, and obviously not all concussions can be prevented. Accidents will occur. However, if we can increase the knowledge of players and coaches and improve the quality of their equipment, we could reduce the number of career crippling head injuries so there's less of this and more of this.
Surrounded by Canadians. Shoots the puck and scores!
And a half to go. Off the tie-up. It comes back to the point. The ball